Hello, and welcome back to the Casual Leader Podcast, your weekly dose of real talk for people building real businesses and trying not to lose their sanity along the way. I'm your host, and today I want to clear up a confusion that's costing people time, money, and potentially their sanity. Everyone's talking about AI right now. Shocker, I know. And I keep seeing the same mistake. Someone hears AI is the future and thinks I should build an AI product. Or worse, I should build an AI company. Look, maybe you should, but probably not. Chances are it's not. Because there's a massive difference between building with AI and building AI products. One of them is accessible to pretty much everyone right now. The other is a completely different game with different rules, different capital requirements, and different risks. And if you don't know which one you're playing in, it's not really looking good for you. Here's the other thing that nobody is saying out loud. This is the easiest time in history to start a company and the hardest time to scale one. The tools have never been better. The competition has never been fiercer. Both things are true at the same time. So, today I want to break down these two aspects, helping you figure out which one you should be investing in and paying close attention to, and talk honestly about the paradox of building in 2026. Let's get into it. Let me start by addressing the confusion points. When people say AI startup or AI business, they're usually lumping together two completely different things. Building with AI means using AI tools to build, operate, and scale your business. You're making a product or your service, could be anything, and AI is one of the tools you use to get faster, leaner, smarter to get there. AI is the facilitator, the force multiplier, the executor for the tools, the workflows, the insert your product here. It might look different than your normal tech products, but it's still a collaboration with an AI. Spotify, for example, now provides an experience with an AI driven discovery, and it will expand their capabilities even more. Building an AI product means that AI is the product. The whole core value proposition is an AI capability. The competitive advantage depends on something technical, your model, your data, your infrastructure. These are not the same things. The skill requirements are very different. The capital required is very different. And the risks are very different too. The likelihood of success is different as well. But because everyone's throwing around AI like it's one thing, people get confused. They think they need to build AI products to be in AI. They think using AI tools makes them an AI company. Neither is true. The confusion is causing real problems. Founders are choosing the wrong products to focus on. Investors are funding the wrong companies. And a lot of people are about to learn some really expensive lessons. So let's break it down further. Building with AI means using these tools to move faster, just operate leaner, and to do things that you really couldn't do before. With or without AI, you still have a standalone core offering. Let's take Canva, for example. It's a design platform. That's the core of the product. But they've integrated AI heavily. Magic Write for copy, Magic Eraser for image editing, text to image generation, auto formatting. AI makes Canva just faster and more accessible. But the core value proposition is still anyone can design. If you stripped out every single AI feature tomorrow, Canva would still be Canva. So AI is the force multiplier, the extra layer, not the product itself. This is not about being an AI company. This is about being a company that uses AI well. What does that look like practically for most companies in this category? So basically, they move faster. You can draft content really fast, email proposals in a fraction of a time. You can brainstorm, iterate, refine ideas with AI as your thinking partner. You can research and analyze information that used to take days in hours. You can speed up your processes. You can also operate a lot leaner. Tasks that used to require hiring someone or spending hours yourself, now you can be handled by AI agents. Automation workflows, repetitive processes, you can actually do a lot more with less these days. You can also build things that you couldn't really build before. If you're technical, AI coding assistance lets you ship features faster. If you're not technical, you can now prototype or even build an MVP that would have been impossible without a design or development team. Now you can get approvals and reviews with high fidelity in a matter of hours. And it also helps with making better decisions. AI can analyze data, spot patterns, and help with a lot of research. You can make more informed decisions without needing a data science team for a lot of things. Here's who this category is for. Building with AI is almost for everyone building anything. Founders, freelancers, small teams, solo operators, people with ideas who couldn't afford to execute them before, SMBs and enterprise alike. The capital required? Low, most of the time. Subscription like costs. The technical skills required? Kind of low to medium. If you can describe what you want clearly, you can really use these tools. The risk profile? Quite low. You've augmented what was already there. You're not betting the company on a technical capability you may or may not have, unlike Builder.ai. This is the category where most people should be building in. And the people who do it really well will have massive advantages over those who don't. Now, let's talk about the other side of the coin. Building AI products means that AI is actually the core value proposition. This is where you're creating something where AI capability is the product. So, what does that look like? Well, maybe you're building a specialized AI model for a very specific industry, let's say legal, medical, finance. Maybe you were creating an AI agent that can handle very, very specific workflows. Maybe you're building an infrastructure or tooling that other AI products depend on. The key difference here is that your whole competitive advantage depends on something technical, which is directly dependent on AI. Your whole moat can be your model, your data, or your infrastructure. This is a completely different game. Mem0, for example, sits in this category. For them, AI is the product. Their entire value proposition is an AI capability. The product is a memory layer for LLMs. Without AI, there's nothing. There's no business. Their competitive advantage is technical. The memory compression algorithms, token optimization, the architecture that lets AI agents remember context across sessions. They even have published research benchmarking their approach against OpenAI's memory. That's the technical differentiator here. They're not a productivity tool that added AI in the mix. They're not an app that uses AI to make something else better. They're selling AI infrastructure to other developers and enterprises building AI products or building with AI products. So here's what you should know about actually building AI products category. First of all, who is this for? Well, it's for teams with deep technical expertise, some significant capital, and a high tolerance for risk. You need to keep up and adapt incredibly fast. In a matter of months, you can be gone. The capital required? Very high. Compute costs alone can be brutal, especially if you want to scale really quickly. And if you're looking to train models, that's even more expensive. The infrastructure required to compete can get very expensive too. Well, the technical skills required, you may ask? Kinda high. You need people who really understand ML and AI at a really deep level, not just the prompt engineering, but actual deep technical expertise, machine learning engineers, maybe, and researchers. The risk profile? Well, that's kind of high as well. And here's the part that nobody really wants to talk about: the foundation models keep getting better and cheaper, which means the thing you spend months building could be a default feature in ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude overnight. That's pretty hard to compete with those guys. This is not a category for most founders. It's one for ideally well funded teams with deep technical expertise solving specific problems that the big players aren't really focusing on. let me address something directly because I see this constantly. A lot of AI startups are really just wrappers, a nice interface on top of an API call. You plug into GPT or Claude, you add some prompts, you build a UI, you call it an AI product. Well, this worked in 2023, maybe even 2024. It doesn't really work anymore. The foundation models looked at what startups were building on top of them and just built it themselves. Translation, the thing you build as your whole startup now probably is a default feature in ChatGPT. And here's something that helps explain why some of these companies fail while others don't. There's a concept in AI called harness. The harness is everything around the model that makes it actually useful. The prompts, the tool connections, the memory, the error handling, the root logic, the feedback loops, the guardrails. It's the scaffolding around a raw AI model into something that can reliably work. Here's the insight. Improving the harness can matter as much or even more than just improving the model itself. The real AI isn't just the model sitting in the data center, it's the whole system working together. So when I say wrapper, I'm talking about companies that build a very, very, very thin harness, a pretty interface with a prompt on top of an API. That's it. There's nothing substantial underneath. That's why they're vulnerable. If all you did was to make it slightly easier to talk to GPT or switch between GPT, Claude, or Gemini, you build a very thin harness. And a thin harness is very easy to replace too. But if you build a really deep, complex, robust harness, one with proprietary workflows, specialized feedback loops, domain specific logic, custom MCPs, real infrastructure that makes the AI meaningful, better at specific jobs, that's different. That's where real value actually lives. The difference between a wrapper and a real AI product often comes down to how thick your harness is. If your harness and core offering is weak, this is dangerous because your entire product can be replicated in a weekend, maybe faster, now that AI coding tools are actually getting so good. The foundational models keep adding features that make your wrapper redundant. Remember all those summarize this PDF startup? That's a basic feature right now. You have no moat, no USP. If your whole value is we make it easier to use ChatGPT, someone else can do that too, including OpenAI themselves. The counter argument I hear is, but UX matters. It matters. We understand our customers better. Sometimes that's true, but not most of the time. You need to be brutally honest with yourself about how defensible that reality actually is, how quickly it is to replicate your core product. If a competitor with more funding could destroy your business in a week, you don't really have a business. You have a temporary passion project that brings in some extra dollars. So here's what makes this moment in time so strange. It has never been easier to start a company, and it has never been harder to scale one. We live in a time where a lot of things that contradict can be true at the same time. Why it has never been easier to start? Well, the tools are absolutely incredible. You can go from an idea to functional MVP in days, not months, by yourself. One founder described it as moving from concept to prototype through vibe coding, just describing what you want and letting AI building it. You can validate your idea faster. AI can help you do your market research, competitor analysis, this customer discovery, and all the stuff that used to take weeks or months. You can operate with a very small team as well. Tasks that required hiring new people can now be automated. A solo founder today has the capability that would have required a 5 people team just a few years ago. The barrier to entry has kind of collapsed. You don't need to raise a seed round to test an idea anymore. You can bootstrap further than ever. And that is if you are building with AI. So now let's look at the other side. Why it's never been harder to scale? Well, because everyone else has access to the exact same tools that you have. A TechCrunch piece on investors put it perfectly. And I quote, a lot of founders are finding it easy to build new things because generative AI coding tools are so advanced today. But in truth, Those tools are leveling the playing field for everyone, and competition is more fierce than ever. The same AI that lets you build faster lets your competitors build faster too. The barrier of entry collapsed for everyone, which means more competition, quicker, faster, smarter. And here's the funding paradox: there's more money than ever going into AI. Over $200 billion poured into AI startups in 2025 alone. But it's mostly concentrated at the top. A handful of elite startups get massive valuations. OpenAI and Anthropic alone captured 14% of the global venture investment in 2025. And as of February 2026, Anthropic closed a $30 billion funding round at a $380 billion evaluation. You heard that right. Everyone else just faces a more selective, a more skeptical investor climate. Investors right now aren't impressed by demos anymore. They want proof. They want revenue, numbers, retention, a defensible moat, a path to profitability. As one VC put it at the end of 2025, raising requires a shift from visionary to battle tested. The bar has gone up, way, way, way up. So you can start really easy, easier than ever. But scaling, that's where the real struggle right now is. And it just got harder. So, how do you figure out in which business category you should be playing in? Which ones are right for you? Here are some questions that you should ask yourself. I know I did. One, is AI the core value, or is it enabling the core value? If you're building a better way to manage projects and AI helps you do that, you're building with AI. If you're building an AI model that manages projects automatically, you're building an AI product. Big difference here. Another thing that you should ask yourself is, do you have deep technical expertise? And I don't mean I'm pretty good at prompting or vibe coding. I mean, can you or people on your team train a model from scratch? Or who around you understands the pitfall of your AI models? Or who could debug something at an infrastructure level? Or do you have anyone around you that understands the difference between building with AI or actually building an AI product where that's the focus? If yes, you might be able to play in it. You might be able to play in the AI product game. If not, you're probably better off building with AI. And there's nothing wrong with that. Another question that I really had to think about it as well is that, do you have access to proprietary data? That's important, especially these days. Data is one of the few defensible aspects in AI. If you have access to data that nobody else has access to, and that data makes your product meaningfully better, you really have something there. If you're using the same public data as everyone else is using, you don't. One of the important questions when you want to start a startup as well is, can you raise significant capital with your idea? Building AI products at scale is expensive. The compute costs alone can be millions. If you're bootstrapping or raising a small round of seed, you're probably not in a position to compete on the infrastructure level. Think about it like this: a real solid senior engineer with the expertise you need can be over $500,000 a year. And you're going to need more than that. That alone is at least $1 million per year. Are you comfortable with the risk that OpenAI, Anthropic, or Claude could ship your feature as default? Because they might. They're moving fast. They're adding features constantly. If your whole product is something that they can build in a sprint, that's a real risk too. If you answer to some of the questions above, yes, no, enabling, not really comfortable, you're not really 100% certain, maybe you're probably in the build with AI camp. And that's great. That's where most successful businesses will be built in. The companies that win the AI era won't all be AI companies. They will be companies that learn how to use AI exceptionally well to solve real problems, serve real customers, and build real value. And remember what I said about the harness before? This applies to you too. Even if you're building with AI, the way you set up your tools, your workflows, your processes around AI, this is your harness, or it can be. And a well designed harness is what separates founders who are getting mediocre AI outputs from the ones who are running circles around their competition. You don't need to build the model, the actual model. You don't even need to build the harness infrastructure. But you do need to understand that how you use AI, the system you build around it, matters just as much as AI itself. Your competitive advantage isn't access to AI anymore. Everyone has that. Your advantage is how well you've built the systems around it. Even YC released for their traditional RFS, the request for startups for spring 2026, a mix of AI native and building with AI. From AI for government to deal with a huge increase that's coming down the line of requests and forms, to large spatial models that can handle geometry and physical structure as first class primitives, not approximation layers on top of language. Just like the companies that won the internet era, they weren't all internet companies. They were retail companies, media companies, service companies that understood how to use the internet better than their competitors did. Same thing is happening right now. Different technologies, but same pattern. Let me end with something that maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable. Most AI startups being funded right now will fail. Not because AI doesn't work, but because the market is getting really crowded, the bar is going up, and a lot of people are playing a game they're just not equipped to win. But here's the flip side: a lot of businesses that aren't AI companies at all will win because they will use AI better than their competitors. The coffee shop that uses AI to manage inventory and predict demand. The consulting firms that uses AI to do the research in hours instead of days. The e-commerce brand that uses AI to generate product descriptions and manage customer service requests. A solo consultant who uses AI to operate like a small agencies. None of those are AI companies, but they're all using AI to win. That's the opportunity that most people are missing. They're so focused on the shiny object, on I should build an AI product, that they're actually missing the real leverage here. Using AI to building a better version of whatever you're already good at. And that's the key part here. You need, not should, but need to build what you already know and what you're already an expert in. If you or your co founder have no experience in legal, don't try to build another Harvey AI. That's a guarantee fail. So the question isn't, should I start an AI company? That's the wrong one. The question is, how can I use AI to build a better business in the area that I have most experience in? For me, I'm an engineer at core. That's why Alpy.io is based on AI tools and workflows for engineers. So, reframing the question, if you are thinking of building something so you can have better outcomes. Let me leave you with some of the highlights. Number one, building with AI and building an AI company are two different things. Different skills, different capital requirements, different risks. Two, most founders should be building with AI, not building AI companies and products. It's more accessible, lower risk, and where most successful businesses will come from. Three, the difference between a wrapper and a real product comes down to your harness, the system you build around the AI. A thin harness is a pretty interface on top of an API. A deep harness is proprietary workflows, feedback loops, and a domain logic that makes the AI meaningfully better at a specific job. This applies whether you're building AI products or building with AI products. The system around AI matters just as much as the AI itself. Number four, the wrapper era is gone. If your product is just a UI on top of an API, you're vulnerable. The foundational models will eventually add that feature as default. Start pivoting, move on. Number five, this is the easiest time to start a company and the hardest time to scale. The tools are incredible, but everyone has them. Competition is fierce. Number 6, investors have raised the bar. They want revenue, unit economics, a path to profitability. Demos and decks are just not enough anymore. Number 7, the real opportunity isn't AI startups. It's using AI to build better businesses in every industry. Number 8, the actual winners of the AI era won't all be AI companies, but they're going to be businesses that all use AI exceptionally well. So here's what I want you to think about this week. If you're building something or thinking about building something, answer this question honestly. Is AI the core offering or is it an enabling the core offering? Write it down, be specific. If it's enabling, great, lean into that. Use every AI tool that you can to move faster. That's where your leverage is. If it's core, make sure you understand what game you're actually playing in. Do you have the technical depth? Do you have the capital? Do you have the moat? Do you have the tolerance for risk? Those are really, really important questions to ask before you jump in. There's no wrong answer, but there is kind of like a wrong answer depending where you stand. And the clearer you are about which category you're playing in, the better your odds of winning. All right, that's a wrap. We're in a weird moment right now. The tools have never been better, starting has never been easier, and scaling has never been harder. Everyone wants to be an AI company, but the real chance here is being a company that uses AI very, very well. That's less sexy, I know. It doesn't get the headlines and the news flash, but it's where most successful business will be built. The question isn't whether AI matters, because it does, clearly. The question is how are you going to use it and whether you're choosing the right category for you. Don't get distracted by what sounds impressive. Get clear on what works for you. Build from there. If you know someone wrestling with this question, air product or not, send them this episode too. And if you're deep in the trenches, I'd love to hear what you're working on, what you're building, and where maybe you're stuck. Let us know in the comments below and let's get the conversation started. As always, we'll link everything that we talked about in the description. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and hit that notification bell so you never miss on any of the upcoming episodes. We have tons of interesting topics coming up. Plus, don't forget to join our community on thecasualleader.com to keep the leadership's vibes going and connect with fellow leaders just like you. Until next time, keep being you authentically, lead clearly, and build smarter. And remember, everything starts with you. Start casual, keep going, keep growing. See you next week. Bye.